Good day and hello. Today I am going to talk about was Patanjali an ancient astronaut, and basically the science of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. My name is Anil Rajvanshi. I run a small NGO called Nimkar Agriculture Research Institute, Nari, in a rural town called Fulton in Western Maharashtra. And you can read everything about our institute, what it does, in this URL www.narifulton.org. So besides my technology work and the work on rural development, I also have interest in spirituality and have been a student of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And I thought that today I will talk on the science of Patanjali Yoga Sutras because I think it is one of the most scientific book of ancient times. Patanjali Yoga Sutras are the origin of yoga. In fact, all yoga seems to have originated from this book. We do not know when it was written, but there are speculations that it was written about 2500 years ago by a sage, Patanjali. We also do not know exactly who he was, and there are a lot of historians who have written who have written about him, but we are still not sure. But what we are sure is whatever we have gotten is this remarkable document called Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And I must also say that these came only in the written form 300 to 400 years ago. Before that, as was the tradition in India for the oral transfer of knowledge, and it is quite possible that in that oral transfer of knowledge, a lot of the sutras got lost because they are so sophisticated and so much science based that people who did not understand probably may have not transferred that. But whatever we have of today is what is available from last 300 to 400 years. So I will talk about what may be missing and also talk about whatever we have on how it matches with the science that is available today. It is one of the most scientific spiritual books of ancient times from India and is also very famous and most translated of Indian philosophical books. So obviously it has a lot of gems and tremendous wisdom, and that is the reason why it was translated and became so famous. Because anything that is a great thought cannot remain hidden, and I feel that it is one of the finest books on yoga and about the science of mind control or thought control. I have been inspired by these sutras. In fact, anything that I have written on spirituality have been guided by the spirit of Patanjali. And so I feel very blessed by uh, understanding his Yoga Sutras or trying to understand and feel that what he wrote should be explained in the scientific uh, terms and in the from the science point of view. And so this is my humble attempt in doing so. The Yoga Sutras, the book which is called Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which we have gotten today, has four sections. There are total of 109, 195 sutras. The Samadhi path and the Sadhana path, these are the two sections which talk about how to make your mind powerful for to control the thought and how to use it. and they have total of 106 sutras. And Vibhuti Path, which is basically about the powers, it has the maximum 56 sutras. And I feel there are quite a number of them are missing because there's a lot of jumping around. But whatever we have, the knowledge is so profound that we need to read between the lines and also think that what would have been the original Patanjali Yoga. And the final section is about Kaivalya, which means liberation. So the first two sections are about how to make mind and body powerful to focus on a single thought for a long time. This is the basic philosophy of Patanjali Yoga. And by making your mind powerful to focus on a single thought, this leads to Sanyam, which is nothing else but a combination of focus, contemplation, and Samadhi, which means you take an object or a subject, you focus on it for a very long time, you contemplate, and in Samadhi, when that object or subject simply vanishes and its germ and it's basically the basic essence remains, and then you get the complete knowledge. The third section is how, once you have developed this system or you develop this process of Sanyam, how you can use Sanyam on various parts of the body and subjects to get supernatural powers and understanding the laws of nature and universe. And the last portion, fourth section, is how using these powers and laws one can get liberation from the cycle of birth and death. In fact, all the writings of Indian spiritual books is how to liberate from the cycle of birth and death, because according to the Indian system, death is very painful. And how do you get rid of this pain and of this process of continuing this cycle of birth and death? So every philosophical book of ancient India focuses on that. And Patanjali focuses it from a very, very scientific point of view. And this is what we discuss. And as I said, when we see these sutras, there's so much of jumping in some of them that one thinks that there may be some of them are missing. And also, they are so precise. And the reason for the precision could be that it was transferred by the oral tradition. And so if you had some lengthy sutras, then probably it would have been corrupted. So it was written in a very precise manner. And in that process, I feel that a lot of the scientific and a lot of the depth somehow is missing. And that's why we will try to read between the lines and try to see how they make sense. Basic philosophy of Patanjali, and that is why, if you want to really understand the whole Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it is as follows. Yoga is nothing else but a focus on a single thought for a long time. And as we said, the first two sections are about how to make your mind and your body powerful and purposeful, so that you develop this process of focusing on a single mind. And this focusing on a single mind, a single thought, leads to Sanyam. Patanjali defines Sanyam as a combination of dharan, which is focus on any subject or object, dhyan, which is once you have focused on that subject or object, you contemplate on it. The continuous flow of thought on that subject or object is contemplation. And when after a long time, the focus and contemplation becomes extremely powerful, then you get samadhi, which is nothing else but you become, in fact, absorbed in that whole process of what you are trying to understand. In fact, all great discoveries of this planet Earth have come from people who had the tremendous power of concentration, and in fact, all of them used to be so involved in what they were thinking that the nature finally revealed its secrets. Whether it was Einstein or Newton or all these great discoverers, etc., the power of concentration is what makes the difference between ordinary people and the people who produce great discoveries and ideas. And so Sanyam on any subject or object leads to its complete knowledge. And according to Patanjali, if you focus on different areas of your body, then you get supernatural powers. And he says that these supernatural powers are necessary to help in the liberation from cycle of birth and death. It's a very remarkable book, because it says that you get supernatural powers, so you overcome the vagaries of nature. And in the old times, we didn't have the technologies and etc. So the system must not be very conducive for higher thought. And once you get over the vagaries of nature, then you can focus your brain to your liberation and to trying to understand and trying to get the knowledge of the universe and the world. It is also very interesting that this book is so scientific. In fact, there is no reference to God. There's nothing to do about religion or anything, but it only talks about universal consciousness. And there are only 7 out of 195 sutras in which it defines what is universal consciousness. And he talks about, because he thinks that there is what is this world, and beyond that is this universal consciousness from which we have all originated. Whether it could be gravity, whether it could be anything, we do not know. But that universal consciousness is what Patanjali talks about. And this is beyond time and space. And so the whole focus of his sutras are basically on the science of mind control, science of thought control. And once you are able to control the thought, then application of that controlled thought on different subjects and on objects to gain this complete knowledge. It's a remarkable book, and I think everybody should try to study it. And the only problem is that most of the commentaries written on this book were written by people who are not scientists. So there was quite a number jumbo and also quite a lot which made it very confusing. And so this is my humble attempt in trying to give you an idea that what is the science behind Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. As I said, I have been inspired by his spirit. I've been inspired by his knowledge, and I try to use, and in fact, it is infinite knowledge still, and I try to use it in my writings. And I've written 2 books, The Nature of Human Thought and Exploring the Mind of God, which are very, very much inspired by Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And I will request some of you to read these books. Yoga Sutras are not an easy read. They are precise and crisp. And as we discussed, it was because of necessity, since it was an oral tradition, so the knowledge should be passed from one person to another in a very precise manner. And naturally, in that process, I have a feeling that a lot of it got lost. And so we are basically a loser because of that. But still, we can read between the lines and we can try to find out what was possible. And so there is a neat reading between the lines with deep knowledge of modern science. And that is where I think is what has been missing. And I will try to show what are the things which are available. So most commentaries on it were with people who did not understand science. And my humble attempt in trying to explain his extraordinary scientific concepts, and they are in the 2 books that I have written, Nature of Human Thought, and this is a URL, and I will request some of you to read that. And the second book is Exploring the Mind of God, or How Technology Guided by Spirituality Leads to Happiness. And both the books are available free of cost on the net. His writings, as I said, are like infinite ocean. The more I read, the deeper is the knowledge. And I have been able to fathom very small amount of it. Anytime I read a sutra, a new knowledge seems to come out. And so there are just unbelievable the type of thing that are written there. Recently, there is a lot of news about UFOs or unidentified flying objects, or also called flying saucers. And the government of the United States, which seem to have the maximum information on them, has released an official version that they exist. We do not know what is the technology by which they fly, what are the anti-gravity propulsion system, but we know that it exists, and large number of people seems to have been abducted by the beings from these UFOs or unidentified flying objects. And Dr. Mack, who was a Harvard professor, um, interviewed almost 400 of them and compiled extensive study on their experiences. And it's an amazing information that he could glean. And these abductions were not only in America, but all over the world. And the knowledge that he got from talking to them, interviewing them, is a fantastic thing. And it is exactly what Patanjali wrote 2,500 years ago. The similarities are so uncanny that I sometimes think that Patanjali was an ancient astronaut. And that is the talk of this, that is the subject of this talk. So supernatural powers exhibited by aliens, and this is according to the abductees who were abducted by them, taken to the ships, are exactly what Patanjali wrote 2,500 years ago. The similarity is very uncanny. And in fact, the interesting part is the similar type of things were also taught by Sri Ramakrishna, the great saint of West Bengal, in late 1800s and early, basically late 1800s. And he was a totally illiterate person, but the visions that he got were very similar to what the abductees saw when they were abducted, which means that probably Ramakrishna himself was a person from a different planet. And in understanding on how to get these powers through Yoga Sutras may help us develop technologies for galactic travel. Question can be asked, what do we gain by learning about these Yoga Sutras, understanding them? And I feel when the similarity between the supernatural powers exhibited by these extraterrestrials and what Patanjali wrote are so similar, there is a need that if we understand the Yoga Sutras very properly, then we may be able to get the technology for the great technology that some of these UFOs also show. And so that is the advantage of learning and trying to understand the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And I feel Patanjali was an extraterrestrial astronaut with tremendous scientific knowledge. And I have written about this aspect a little bit in this article, and you can read that. His sutras talk about the concept of time, which is, so unbelievable. 2,500 years ago, he showed exactly what Einstein wrote in early 1900s. He talked about mind-matter interaction. I've written about that. He talked about levitation, flying through air, mind reading, becoming invisible, etc. All these are in the Vibhuti path. And this is exactly what the UFO inhabitants or these extraterrestrial showed the powers. A lot of abductees said that they would fly through the air, they would make them totally take over their brains, would become invisible, would levitate, would take their bodies through the beams of light to the spaceship. It was not carried physically. So these are things which Patanjali wrote 2,500 years ago. And so it is in our interest to try to understand what is in these Yoga Sutras that we can understand, to try to understand what the UFOs and their inhabitants are about. So the science of Yoga Sutra, I'll talk about. There are, as I said, 56 sutras in Vibhutipad. Most of the science comes in these sutras in Vibhutipad. I have not been able to understand a lot of them, but what I have been able to understand, I'll try to show how the modern science and what Patanjali Yoga matches. And I believe that if quite a number of them shows a tremendous matching, then obviously what is not available and what is lost is must also be a fantastic knowledge that Patanjali had. So I'll talk about the sequence of events. So Patanjali says that if you have a Sanyam or a focused thought on the sequence of events, then you get exalted knowledge. And this is in Sutra section 3, which is the Vibhutipad 53. And Wheeler and Einstein have clearly written that events and the interval between them builds space-time and hence gravity. In fact, everything about the universe is because of the events and interval between them. And this is exactly what Patanjali wrote in his 3.53 Sutra, that Sanyam on sequence of events produces exalted knowledge. He wrote this word exalted knowledge, which is really the knowledge of the universe, which is all Einstein's theory of gravitation and how the universe is built. So this is really a remarkable process in which Yoga Sutras define things which have been shown to be true in the modern science and technology. Then there's another sutra, which is Sutra 3.43, in which Patanjali says that if you do Sanyam, again, focused thought, on the relationship of body and space, then the levitation takes place. And again, one has to read between the lines. And all the abductees who were abducted, and there were 400 or whatever Dr. Mack interviewed, they all said that when they were being abducted, they were not taken physically from their room or home to the spaceship, but they had a tremendous amount of vibrations, and they felt that the cellular transfer of their body took place. Their body was totally broken into cellular structure and then assembled again. So it's like almost like tunneling. Tunneling is a very interesting concept which is used in electronics. And so this is not something out of the extraordinary. This is a real actual process which takes place. How through any solid body, something can tunnel through and come out of the other side. And Patanjali writes very interestingly that by doing sanyam on relationship of body and space, so you become like shreds of cotton. So I feel that there was the sutra had a much longer explanation, but because of whatever has come to us, he compares this relationship between body and space as if a small amount of the cotton which flies, which means that when the cellular transfer takes place, it is like making this cotton smaller and smaller, so it flies through the air. So this is what I've been talking about, that one should not read literally, but one should see what he was trying to say. And since so many things tally very nicely with science and technology, this is a very remarkable thing. And it also tallies very nicely with what the abductees felt when they were transported from point A to point B. Then the abductees also said that these UFO extraterrestrials would become suddenly invisible, suddenly visible. So it was amazing. And Patanjali talks about that if you have a do Sanyam on the body shape and changing it to become invisible. Again, very, very precise, but just in 2 or 3 words, it talks about how a yogi can become invisible. And the similar things we are doing now, we are using these technologies in stealth aircrafts where the sharp angles and visible spectrum absorption takes place. And so the same type of thing Patanjali talks about that when the rays from the body do not reach your eyes, then you become invisible. So this is again, I think, a very remarkable system that he talks about, which the abductees saw in these extraterrestrial beings. Then Patanjali also talks about if you focus your thought or Sanyam on esophagus tube, then you suppress hunger. And as we know now that the stimulation of vagus nerve, because the esophagus tube has a maximum portion of vagus nerve, and if you stimulate that portion, then you suppress hunger. In fact, this has been given by FDA in the United States as a process, as a technology for suppressing hunger, so the obesity can be reduced. Now, there are so many of these sutras which have so much common with the modern science and technology that I feel that everything must be true. We do not understand a lot of other sutras, but the idea is that there is a need to study them very thoroughly with the modern science, with the tools that we have from the modern science and technology, and try to see what is what we can learn from them. And probably the technology that the UFOs have exhibited may become available to us, or the knowledge of that. He also talks about very interestingly, I'm just giving you few of the sutras where a lot of these things have become very apparent now. And there are so many sutras in which the things are still not apparent. But I feel that if we study them very thoroughly through science and technology, we will be able to find out the hidden gems. So he says that if you do Sanyam or focus thought on heart, then the knowledge of consciousness results. It's a very remarkable thing because nobody had thought about that how do you focus on heart and then the whole consciousness and your nature of the mind results. And now we are finding more and more mind-heart interaction. Heart interacts with the mind, not only through the blood flow, but also through the vagus nerve. So there is a lot of connection, a lot of talk between mind and heart. You become agitated, immediately the heart starts pumping more. You become emotionally, very unhappy. Then suddenly your heart races, your pulse becomes high. All these things, the interaction of the heart and mind is something that Patanjali talked about 2,500 years ago. And now more and more science is showing that how both of them are related very closely. And what the signature of the heart is also the helps in the signature of the mind and the thought process. Then a lot of the abductees said that the UFO extraterrestrials were able to read their mind like an open book, could control their mind, could converse with them. Though they did not know the language, but they felt that the extraterrestrial beings were conversing them in their own language. And this is exactly what Patanjali wrote in his Sutra 319, that one can understand the signature or uh, he calls it roop, which means the structure of the thought. And if you understand the structure of thought of other person, then you also control his mind. And I personally feel that the thought hologram, how we perceive the thought, how we can have this extra sensory perception, and the hypnosis is what he had in mind when he talked about mind reading and the control of another person's body. In hypnosis also, you can control other person completely. And this is what he wrote almost 2005 years ago, preceding all this knowledge that we have gotten now. And so these are really remarkable sutras. So I feel that there is a need to study Vibhuti more thoroughly. There are many gems in it which still need to be rediscovered. And it is in our interest for the technology and for everything else is to lead them from with the knowledge of very deep science and technology. And as I said, it is amazing that he wrote this 2,500 years ago, and the same powers exhibited by aliens, and according to their practice. And so I always have felt it was Patanjali, an extraterrestrial astronaut. And I think he was. And we are very blessed that in this country, a person like Patanjali was born who talked about these things, which are becoming known now. And for many, many years, as we advance in our science and technology, will become more and more available. And then we will again keep on going back and seeing what he meant and what he wrote. People generally have a tendency of saying that we should not be singing praises about our ancient things and as if we knew everything. But I feel that when a great thought comes, it is in our interest to try to understand what the great thought was, so that we can have a much faster knowledge. And mind you, he didn't never talked about religion, he never talked about anything else. He just precisely in a very scientific manner, he said, if anybody who does Sanyam on this, it will result, such a thing will result. This is the basis of science. Anybody can do A, B, C, D, and you come to E. And so science by its very nature is independent of the person. It is the process through which you go systematically that you reach the ultimate result. And this is the basis of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. He never talks about that only Mr. A can do it or Mr. B can do it. Anybody who follows these processes can develop this great idea of Sanyam, can develop this process of a deep thought. And when you do this Sanyam on different things, these things result. And so it's a very fantastic thing. And I feel that we should all try to understand these sutras, especially in Vibhuti on what can be done. Thank you very much for listening to this small talk. These are the useful links. My book, Nature of Human Thought, then the second book, Exploring the Mind of God, and all my writings, videos, etc. are on my writings.htm. I have made everything available free because I believe that the knowledge should be made freely available to everybody. And this is my humble attempt in trying to understand what Patanjali might have meant when he wrote these sutras and what we can learn for improving our science and technology and becoming a spiritual human beings. Because I believe that spirituality plus technology brings in happiness. And this is exactly what Patanjali wrote. And this is what I try to write in my second book, Exploring the Mind of God. And here are my emails. And so anybody who wants to interact with me, I'll be very delighted to have the email from them and I'll respond. Thank you very much again.